Holiday carolers pride themselves on singing even in the most adverse conditions. In a zombie apocalypse, it would be easy to mistake their incessant droning for that of zombie takeout. What's up? Welcome to episode 345 of Zombie Takeout.
Zombie Takeout.
The B-Movie and Cult Movie Podcast. I'm Uncle John.
And I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, we've got a voicemail from Bodo in reference to Forbidden Planet.
Hey, Bodo here. I'm critiquing your guys' critique. First of all, Morbius reminds me of somebody who first discovers a band, like the first Fish band. How they always brag, oh, it's my group, they're my people. You know, it's kind of like, they're my aliens, so I'm going to give you this long exposition on how great and wonderful they are. That's what he reminded me of, which I agree was annoying. And then he had that classic Lucifer-type look. I don't know which came first, this or the Twilight Zone devil, but a lot of the Twilight Zone devils look like him. As far as 50 horror sci-fi movies, the problem is they're classified sci-fi/horror. So they were sci-fi-ish and horror-ish and definitely cheesy-ish. But a couple of other ones that are good. I would only recommend two more. That would be the original War of the Worlds and the original Thing, The Thing from Outer Space. By the way, The Thing from Outer Space, I think, was the first one that had overlapping dialogue. I think that was its claim to fame. Can't be for sure. Love the show, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you, Bodo. I love your analogy about the first person to discover a band.
Oh, yeah. He totally was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on.
And I'm admittedly a bit of a hipster. I've been that guy plenty of times, so yeah, that really hits close to home.
And you knew he was the bad guy because of the way he was dressed, you know, the beard and everything.
And I never thought about the Twilight Zone devil. I'd completely forgotten about that because I went straight to the Master, and obviously Doctor Who is a decade plus after this, or just under a decade after this, and that Master is 70s. So that was an influence, but Twilight Zone I forgot about.
I think this was before. I thought Twilight Zone was 60s.
I think you may be right. Maybe he started it in the 50s, but I think it was mostly 60s.
Yeah, and but I mean, it's sort of an anti-intellectual thing too.
Mm-hmm.
What's this nerd know about stuff just because he studied things?
Right.
These real men are here to tell him
right
what's what.
Uh-huh. And well, I mean, cheesy as shit isn't a problem. I mean, look at some of the stuff we review.
Oh yes. This episode in particular.
Uh-huh. But I am really interested in the original War of the Worlds. I've seen so many remakes, of course. I've read the book.
We've done the radio drama.
Yeah, back at OCC, yeah.
Yeah.
And The Thing from Outer Space, I would love to see. I've never seen it. I tend to think, when I hear that of They Came from Outer Space, which was I want to say, late 80s, early 90s sitcom. A syndicated show about the two alien teenagers. Do you remember that?
I don't think I remember that. No.
Look it up if you see it. It was cheesy, but it was fun. One of them was Dean Cameron was the actor's name. He went on to some of those, some skiing movie. The spring break skiing movie, one of them.
I didn't know they did those in the 90s.
I think it was 90s.
Oh, yeah, because wasn't there one with snowboarders versus skiers?
I think that might have been late 80s, but yeah, anyway. Definitely want to see They Came from Outer Space. And particularly for the overlapping dialogue, because that is one thing that really does date 50s movies. Everybody waits for everybody to talk.
Well, not even just TV and movies, but I mean drama.
Yeah.
Was all written. You take a turn, I take a turn.
Well, wasn't Mamet the first to do that? The first to overlap.
I'm thinking Mammoth, and man, I really wish I could remember this playwright that really did it. I don't want to say Channing.
Okay.
No, it's not Carol Channing.
Oh. I thought of Mammoth because when we first saw Primer, you referred to it as Mammetian.
Oh yeah.
So that's what that came to mind.
Carol Churchill.
Okay. Hence the Carol Channing. Okay.
She's post Mammoth though.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
okay,
Mammoth
so Mammoth did it first.
But Carol Churchill, really, just like a whole dinner table of people all talking at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She fucking wrote it out. Genius stuff.
Wow. All right, so now, of course, since it is the last show of the year, onto our best and worst of the year lists.
Yeah.
This was an amazing year.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. 7 perfect scores. The first video game movie. And for me, the first adaptation of a source material that I love that didn't suck. That I actually enjoyed.
Really? This was really our first video game movie?
First good video game movie.
I was going to say,
We've done other video game movies. This is the first good one. This, I think, might be the first good video game movie, period.
Which reminds me, we really need to get to Mario Brothers.
Oh, yeah. And Dune. Or Doom, rather.
Yeah.
But I normally hate adaptations of things I love. But I've been living in the Warcraft universe for a decade, and I love the movie. That's amazing for me.
I was very surprised that you were going to like it.
We also had, I'm going to say, definitely the most enjoyably bad movie we've ever seen. And one of the most unenjoyably bad movies, I'm not going to say the most unenjoyably bad movie, for me, that's still Showgirls. And quite possibly the best movie we've ever reviewed.
We have a lot of... we had a lot of incredible movies.
That's debatable. We'll see where our top lists end up. Kind of convenient that we decided on to end with the top 10.
Yeah.
Starting with our bottom 10, and I'll go first since I only have 5. I couldn't go to 10 this year.
Well, yeah, start with your... Well, I guess I'll start with my bottom 5. Bottom 10 through...
Well, yeah, we'll go alternate. I'll do my 5, and then you can just go from there.
Okay. Well, I should start then. Okay. The very weird thing about this year was there are only 2.5s on my side, and only 4 2s and 4 1s.
Oh,
and
wow.
no half. Actually, no.
You didn't give anything below a 1?
I'm sorry, 3 1s and a 0.
Okay, there was only 1 0.
There was 1 0.
Was it Reefer Madness or Gothic?
Well, hold on.
Because okay, sorry.
So I'm starting with mediocrity, pretty much. It's kind of sad that mediocrity makes it to my bottom list, but that's just the kind of year we had. And who would have thought John Belushi would make my bottom list? But yeah, number 10 for me, Neighbors. Okay. What a snooze fest. And just, I don't know. I don't dig, the whole oh, look at this relationship is, shit.
I just remembered how we normally do this. You keep going. We don't alternate.
All right, and the same for number 9. It's the same deal for number 9. It wasn't an interesting movie, and it was just the celebration of a dead relationship that was past its prime, Escape from Tomorrow.
Okay. Number
8 was just a disappointment. It had so much potential, and we cannot believe that the people involved produced something so boring. A Breed Apart.
Interesting.
Number 7, I can't even remember all that much of this movie, except for the grandma. This is the only thing that kept this from being lower in this, and that is Surf Nazis Must Die. Number 6, the first appearance of Tom Hanks in the bottom list.
That's surprising he's that high. Oh, Burbs. Okay, your first appearance. Little head fake there.
The Burbs. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher.
Yes,
and
of course.
Hopefully Last Jedi is better than this.
I've heard very good things.
I have to. At number 5, a movie again that should have been so much better. It was so good looking, but was just so stupid and poorly acted. Prometheus.
Okay.
Number 4. Now we're heading into the real bad stuff. Those were just mediocre movies. By 10 through 5. Number 4. Again, it looked good, but no one bothered to write a script. And it was just it was a live action Scooby-Doo movie. It was gothic.
I had a feeling that would be at the bottom. Was that the 0 or was it Reefer Madness?
No. That was 0.
Oh no! What am I saying? With the obvious 0 for you is probably
number 3.
You didn't. I could have swore you gave that Gothic and Reefer Madness a 0. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Number 3. Man, yeah, I was just thinking of the title you gave for this one. It was probably one of my favorite titles you've ever come up with.
Okay.
And the title was Red. I'm of course talking 50 Shades of Grey. Pretty much Dakota Johnson alone kept this from being lower.
I'm wondering what the other one in your bottom 3 is then.
Number 2, of course, our annual trip of sadomasochism in Resident Evil.
Oh, of course. I should have known.
Final chapter.
Of course.
And then, of course, without doubt, no suspense here, what the worst movie we've seen of 2017, Tom Hanks, Mazes and Monsters.
Yeah. Okay, at number 5, I have Zombeavers. It had its moments. I mean, I think I gave it a 3.
True. Mine was like in the middle, kind of.
Yeah, but the bulk of it was just weak. The extra add-on stuff was great. Just that main story was just not interesting.
If I remember right, Bill Burr pretty much kept it from being on that list I read.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably gave it a brain just for Bill Burr.
Number 4, I have Neighbors. Belushi and Aykroyd. How could the movie be so disappointing?
Well, they made a lot of movies together.
Yeah.
They weren't all good.
And they played against type, which I think took a bit away from it. I mean, it was an interesting experiment. Could have been good, but it just didn't work.
Oh, I think they were just wrecked the whole time.
Well, yeah, obviously. That was probably the case, too.
That really was the problem with the movie more than anything else. They thought things were hilarious, and they just were not.
Yeah. And number 3, I have Prometheus. Again, could have been amazing. It was disappointing. And I blame Damon Lindelof for most of that. Number 2, obviously, 50 Shades of Grey. I still stand behind that title. And, of course, this year could only, bring one worse than 50 Shades of Grey. If 50 Shades of Grey is 2, you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Mazes and Monsters.
You're in solid agreement that Mazes and Monsters are the worst thing that we've seen this year.
Like I said, possibly the worst movie we've ever seen, or one of. I really don't know which is worse between that and Showgirls. I have yet to vow to never see Mazes and Monsters again, but I've only seen it the one time. I saw it once when I was a kid. But,
what was the joke I had said? Now you know the second worst thing that happened to the World
Yeah, exactly.
Is it too soon?
Showgirls I've seen twice as an adult, which is why I think I vowed to never watch it again. If I watched Mazes and Monsters again, which I don't think I would do, I'm sure I would vow to never watch it again. So it's probably right up there with Showgirls, or down there, depending on how I put it.
I'd watch it if I was allowed to throw shit at the screen.
Oh yeah, it could be interesting for a midnight movie.
Yeah.
That might redeem it.
And I can yell that out. Now we know the second worst thing that happened at the World Trade Center.
All right, on to our top 10.
Yeah. And this was tough because I have a bunch of honorable mentions. I mean...
Oh, okay. I have one.
Another odd thing about this year, not a single 4.5.
Oh, wow.
I either went 4 or 5 the whole year.
Up until a couple of weeks ago, I had... Actually, 2 weeks ago. Up until then, I had 2 4.5s on my list.
And maybe I should have gone for a couple 4.5s of the 5s I gave, but and some of the 4s. And if I'll start with I'll start with the top 10 list, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Just mention the honorable mentions later.
Okay.
But
okay. That's how we'll do it.
number 10. Oh, or you want me to do the honorable mentions?
I was going to go the other way, but it's up to you. You decide.
All right.
Go to 10. Start with 10.
Yeah, I'll just do the 10 and then quickly go through. Number 10, this one maybe should have been 4.5. It is a person that did one of the shorts this week. Bad Ben. I'm not sure why I went so far down as a 4, but because I remember enjoying the hell out of it and really just being shocked at how it's the anti-Prometheus. It is a movie that
exactly.
this guy did with shoestring and bubble gum and fucking made a compelling, hour and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or almost.
And as we'll see this week,
that had everything and could not do shit with it.
Right. And as we'll see this week, he gets a lot of mileage out of his house.
Oh my god, I love that. I love that he used the same fucking house. That's his house. But anyway, number 9, another anti-Prometheus, Aliens.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's some lofty shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Space Marines, need I really say more? Both of those probably should have been 4.5s.
Mm-hmm.
A 5 that should have been a 4.5, maybe. But I remember you did not enjoy this much at all. But I mean, rarely do you see a portrayal of the future from the past going, wow, they really fucking nailed it. And that is Death Race 2000.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Cherry 2000 was pretty close to the mark, too.
Mm-hmm.
But Death Race 2000 had so much batshit insanity. It's just the gumball rally of the future idea. It's just, man, what's not to love? And
I didn't even consider that one for either list. It was right in the middle for me.
Gumball Rally is probably a movie we should get to sooner or later, too. Yeah. Or any of those racing across the country movies. Number 7, Class of Nukem High. And honestly, I'm trying to recall. I remember some of it. But I remember enjoying it. That's pretty much it. So maybe that should have been a 4.5 as well. Number 6, I know it's terrible to rate something recent, but goddamn, this was good, especially for its time. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Okay.
Really, yeah, another one. Just, I think I was a lot harsher on Forbidden Planet because we did it after The Day the Earth Stood Still, where you felt like they nailed it. How humanity would react to an alien encounter.
Save for one movie, I think our top 7 are going to be very similar, and I think I know what the difference is going to be.
Yeah, after this, the order was very difficult to choose. A lot of it's just personal, favorites. Yeah. But 5, I have Martin. Good God, that could easily be number 1. Any of these following movies could be the best movie we've seen this year. It was really hard to pick. Number 4, the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
But
we have yet to see his 3 other movies.
I know. And one of the highlights of 2017 was I discovered this movie, Fateful Findings. What a pile of dog shit. but I would never turn it off if it came on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
It's better than The Room, and it's worse than The Room, and for the exact same reasons.
Number 3, the exact opposite. One of the best acting performances we've seen in the history of this show, Paris, Texas. Number 2, and this is just pure, I don't know if it's nostalgia or it's just, what? This was fucking funny as hell and way ahead of its time. The Gong Show movie. And then number 1, talking about figuring out the future, 1984.
Called it.
Which had everything. I mean, seeing the future, another incredible performance too. I mean, pretty damn close to Paris, Texas, if not equal to it.
We have the same movies in our top 7, save for one, and the difference should be obvious. Different order, of course. But before I get to that, my bottom 5. Oh, I did my bottom 5 already. I'm on 3 hours of sleep, folks. Oh, your honorable mentions.
Yeah, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. These are all 4s. Kelly's Heroes, Warcraft, Galaxy of Terror, and Beastmaster.
Yeah. Beastmaster.
Oh, and of course, Deathbed.
Of course. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a top 10 list if I didn't have one that was on your bottom list. And surprisingly, it's not Resident Evil. That was knocked off a couple weeks ago. I have A Breed of Heart at number 10. I just loved Rutger Hauer in it, and it was just so bizarre. I just had fun with it. At number 9, I have Secretary. You had some issues with the ending and sort of the message. I just really liked it. Loved Maggie Gyllenhaal in it.
And yeah, what's not to like about Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, and Spader, of course.
Spader. Do you watch The Blacklist?
I should watch it. I have yet to give it a shot.
I mean, he just chews scenery up, and it's just, I mean, just watch it for him, if anything else.
At number 8, the difference in our lists, I have the 84. Any of these could be, like you said, in any order at this point.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah, I couldn't tear my hair out over the order of a lot of these guys, because there are just so many good ones.
Rest in peace, John Hurt. Like you said, it told the future. Amazingly so. And in 1948.
Yes.
At number 7, possibly the best Trauma. I know for me it's between this Toxie and maybe Kabuki Man. Class of Dukem High. I absolutely loved it. It is everything that is good and beautiful about Trauma.
Yeah, I was worried you were going to say Surf Nazi.
No. I'm surprised that didn't get on my bottom list. I might have forgotten about it.
And honestly, in any other year, that would not have made a bottom list.
Yeah.
Neither would a Prometheus, really, or A Breed Apart. Those are just all the mediocre movies.
At number 6, I have the actual best worst movie. A lot of people talk about Patrol 2. A lot of people talk about The Room. Hell, there's a movie about the making of The Room. But those people have not seen the work of Neil Breen. It's Fatal Findings.
The maestro. The genius. The man who's going to explain and reveal all the secrets.
Yeah. And one day he'll reveal that it's intentional. A lot of people say that Wiseau deliberately made The Room bad. I'm waiting to hear that from Neil Breen.
Yeah.
At number 5, The Gong Show. Rest in peace, Chuck. Thank you for all of the influence and inspiration. At number 4, the one that took Resident Evil off of this list, The Day the Earth Stood Still. At number 3, of course, the difference in our lists, Warcraft. I just adored it. At number 2, Martin. Best vampire movie ever.
Yeah, that's an accurate statement. It could be an accurate statement. I mean, that's
and probably Romero's best from what I've seen.
Maybe.
And number 1, in my opinion, the best movie we've ever reviewed, Paris, Texas. Rest in peace, Harry Dean Stanton. It was just astounding what he did with that movie.
Yeah, it was hard for me to not put it in the top spot, but damn.
Yeah, it's all subjective at that point, especially when you got 7 5s.
I think what kept it, what I didn't keep it in the top spot for was because of the space and the silence that they gave. I felt the other two, they delivered. I mean, of course, obviously, the Gong Show was just a completely different show, thing on its own. But in a way, it was. I mean, it was before reality TV. Sure. Television is now that.
Yeah, good point. And my honorable mention,
1984 is just. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I have no issue with you giving that number 1 spot. And my honorable mention, Bad Ben. It didn't quite make the cut for the top 10 for me, but what Nigel Bach did with $300 in his house was just astounding.
And I mean, like I said, there are some of those 4s that maybe I should have given 4.5 to, and maybe some of those 5s.
Yeah, I think I went 3.5 on it. I maybe should have went a little higher.
I didn't go halfsies on all that many movies this year at all. I was very committed. I mean, Gothic was 1.5. Right. Neighbors and Escape were 2.5.
What did you give Reefer Madness? Because I could have swore that was a 0. Maybe it was a 1. Maybe it was a 1. Okay, if Maze of the Monsters was your only 0. You give... Okay, I thought you hated that. Because I remember I loved it and you hated it. Because that was
funny if I used your ratings. No.
Because that and Gothic were the 2 5s that I didn't put on my top 10 list. I just felt like, I rethought a couple of my 4.5s. Initially Resident Evil and Breed Apart. All right, so on to this week's movies, plural, which are from various years, some holiday horror shorts. Short films of a horror nature.
I don't even know if you could say they're movies. I mean,
well, they're short films. A couple are basically fake trailers.
True.
And they're all Christmas themed. And of course, that brings us to the... Well, how do we want to do the plot summary? We didn't talk about this.
Sheesh. I guess I could just...
You can sum it up in very quickly for each movie. But
yeah, I was just going to give a blurb for each. And it's not very impromptu, honestly.
But we're going to do one sponsor each, as usual, for the whole show. We're not going to do a sponsor for each one. And, of course, that brings us to the first impromptu plot summary, sponsored by dogs. Our first and only line of defense in the zombie apocalypse.
And also brought to you by the last day before winter break. Because we always record on Skype, but this week we're definitely phoning it in.
Yeah. I'm barely going to edit this show. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, this should have been a drinking show, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well. C'est la vie. All right, so our first one was a very zombie holiday. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much just a 50s style PSA about zombie attacks during the holidays.
And 50s parodies and zombies go together perfectly. I mean, we learned this with Fido, but this really capitalized on it.
Yeah.
I love the line, "Don't prioritize your pies."
Was this before or after Fido? Probably after Fido.
It's probably after, because it's Team Unicorn who've done a lot of stuff together, and they're fairly recent. I think they were within the last 10 years.
We're also... Did we explain that we're not doing the same rating system for these?
No, we're going thumbs up and thumbs down.
Yeah, or thumbs up or thumbs off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because really, I think if a zombie... Well,
that's
just
true.
like...
I'm not fixing the graphic. The thumb is still going to be on, but...
Well, yeah, you can leave it that way. But it's as if Siskel and Ebert have risen from the grave and have come to deliver reviews. And I think a zombie, I don't know how well their thumb would be connected to the rest of their hand.
That's a fair point. Yeah, you're probably right.
So I think if you hold it down, it would just fall off.
I also loved the idea that it was hard to tell drunks from zombies. They say, don't hang mistletoe, because you never know if the guy stumbling out from the kitchen, toward it is going to be drunk or undead.
It is difficult to tell between a drunk, a toddler, or a zombie, I think.
Yeah,
they're all very similar in behavior, I think.
And that carolers sound undead.
Yeah.
We use that for our intro.
Always fucking do.
Yeah. I've actually never had carolers show up at my door.
Really?
I guess I've been lucky.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, I imagine not. And the kids with the guns.
I mean, I think it's been a long time, but I think I remember in my old neighborhood in New Jersey, that happened. But nothing happens here in the city.
Of course. The kids with the guns at the end. Because they get guns for Christmas. And they just unload on this zombie who's broke in.
I wasn't sure if I was with this until that part. That sold it for me.
I loved it top to bottom.
Yeah.
I actually say, from my rating, I say up, way up. You're going thumbs up?
Yeah.
All right, so on to Santa.
Which, well, there isn't much to describe about this.
Trailer.
It's a Krampus-style Kringle, and he goes after kids.
Yeah. And it's from the perspective of a little girl who hears him breaking in and tries and sneaks out and thinks it's Santa.
Was there something missing out of this? Was this the whole thing? Was that it?
I think that was it. A couple of them are only like a minute and change.
Yeah.
Like you said, reminded me of Krampus, which I saw recently. Might be worth reviewing. It's a little mainstream for us.
Well,
but
Krampus
it was fun.
Is actual, from Norse mythology.
Well, the movie from, I think it was a year or two ago with Rob Porter. A little mainstream for us, but it might be worth reviewing.
I mean, in fact, the Chris Kindle Market this year in Chicago has like a Krampus, statue or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I loved the kind of sugar plum-like music in it. Because you have this little girl kind of creeping out to see Santa with this sound alike of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies.
Right.
And then, side by side with Krampus. And I love the sound design. It really brought up the tension.
There wasn't enough going on here for me, really, for me to do anything with it. So I'm going
down?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs up. I really enjoyed it for what it was. And that brings us to My Name is Kris Kringle.
Santa is being interrogated for mass murder. They catch him outside someone's house. He's bloodied. They do the interrogation room. Hilarity ensues.
And it is a completely straight version of both. You get the serious cops, and you get this kindly old guy as Santa. And I just love that premise. I also love the kind of kitschy 60s style opening with, that kind of like Hobbitish
the credits were longer than the actual short.
It was like 4 minutes and change. This was one of the longest ones.
Why did they have the credits at the beginning and the end, though?
That's a fair point.
It was like 4.5 minutes, and seriously, almost 2 of those minutes were credits.
Loved Santa holding a severed head and a cleaver.
That's right.
I'm just gonna say that I came up with this week's album art before I watched this. We had the same idea. Loved the performance from the actor who played Santa. He was kindly, but also kind of insane.
But I thought the ending, wasn't all that. I mean, I could see coming from a mile away.
See, I was the opposite. When they said all the kids are dead, I was just shocked that they went there. And then they showed this gnarly looking book as the naughty list. I loved it. So you're going...
Thumb off.
You're down?
Yeah.
All right, I'm up on this one.
Treevenge is our next one. My notes, this needs no summary. It's by stupid as fuck, but it delivers. Anyway, so it goes through this grisly opening of what we do to trees, taking them from the forest and torturing them and selling them off to as slaves to people's homes to decorate their bodies.
Not really slaves, because they don't really do anything.
Well,
they're
being purchased and meant to be held up as decorative pieces. Now, of course, we all know that it's good for us to take these trees out, and we always replant them. So it's not like an environmental thing. But yes, the trees finally take their revenge upon us. And you want to talk about going somewhere?
Yeah.
This is more than just a book of crossed off names. This gets messy.
Oh, yeah. This was directed by the same guy who did the Hobo with a Shotgun short. I don't remember if he did the full film. Again, another great kitschy kind of 60s-ish opening.
Oh my god, I love the opening so much.
Which used a piece of music that is used on was used for a while on a YouTube channel I watched called Weird Fruit Explorer. So that was interesting to hear that music in a different context.
I mean, just that whole, panorama view and that music and just, I mean, he really set the fucking mood.
Yeah. And then completely subverted it with this sudden change when the lumberjacks show up.
Oh, yes. And
should be mentioned that this is the longest of the shorts we're reviewing.
It's pretty close to it. Like the last one.
Yeah. The last one is 12 minutes and change. This is 16 and change.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they would burn trees also, but they seem to. It's just it gets there, you know.
And I love the whimpering tree. It reminded me of like a Muppet or a Jawa.
Why are you doing this to me? What do you want from me?
Yeah. And it's kind of like Thanksgiving in concept.
Oh, it's like any of those Saw movies or whatever,
but in Thanksgiving's case, they sent the icon of Thanksgiving to kill people because of Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
in this case,
say that.
They send it's nobody sends it, but it's the icons of Christmas killing people for using them.
Yeah.
And I think if real lumberjacks screamed that much, they'd probably have more fun.
I think so too. Yeah, that looked like a lot of fun.
Although they were a bit too arch, I thought. Maybe in the excess the excess profanity kind of took me out of it a bit. I really wasn't loving the first half.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was almost a spoof, I guess. I don't know what they were doing.
It's just
at the very
a little
beginning.
too heavy-handed. I loved the switch to Sleigh Ride, and the music changes were great.
Yeah.
I just wasn't quite sympathizing with the trees. I wasn't quite on their side. And then shit gets real.
Oh yeah.
You hear another great music change, rocking around the Christmas tree. And there's a montage that I liked, and I actually have in my notes. Yes, I typed that. Because they show different houses celebrating Christmas. And it really just makes you want the revenge, because they take their time with it.
Oh yeah.
And it really just whets your appetite. And I was waiting to see the kids get guns. Like, in the zombie one for Christmas.
Right.
But then the revenge was just beautifully sudden. It was
And yeah,
two girls sitting there, and the guy they were with disappears, and they pan over, and he's in the... No, it was the cat that was in the tree. And then it just grabs one of the girls.
I mean, he broke every taboo in that scene at the end. He killed the cat. He killed the baby.
There's some great gore too. I mean, they don't scrimp. They don't skip on the gore. Of course,
no, they don't.
Of course, they kill the couple having sex.
Right.
And there's a tree rape scene that goes further than any tree rape scene, and it's not further in where it happens.
Yeah,
and not in that sense. It's in the mouth and out the eye, and in another guy's mouth. In the guy, there's this couple kissing. And
you'd have to see it yourself to.
They're kind of sewn together by the tree branch in their eyes and mouths. It's genius. The second half really made the movie.
Yeah.
There's one part where a woman disappears or escapes. I mean, she gets out, starts running, and she's flanked by these trees.
And how do you outrun a tree? I mean, come on.
It's just genius, and I just loved all the gore and the absurdity of the second half.
Right, the whole thing is absurd.
Yeah, I'm going up. Obviously, you are as well.
Yeah. That brings us to Cold Night. There's something called a Christmas Goblin. I'm not really sure what the fuck happened here, honestly. He reads a card. He becomes a Christmas Goblin. He meets a Christmas Goblin. I don't fucking know, honestly.
It was inspired by a dream, so you knew it was going to be trippy.
It looks more like it was inspired by Troll 2.
The beginning was nice and cryptic and kind of eerie. But then it just went downhill. There were some misused stuffed toys.
I liked this scene with the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest, I mean, I don't know. It looked like they were trying to put together a pitch for a full-length movie.
Yeah, maybe.
But they didn't really have enough to carry the short, though, I thought. So.
No, it just ends too suddenly. I mean, others do end suddenly as well, but this one just didn't work. It just meanders too much. I mean, it is a dream, but still. And I just wasn't buying the lead performance.
Yeah, the lead was...
This is the first one I've gone down on. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, what was that?
This is the first one I've given thumbs down to. That was not at all planned.
Sure. I'm going down on this one too, man. I can't stop.
And that brings us to A Lucci Gore Christmas.
I had such high hopes for this one.
The name was intriguing.
Yeah, and misleading. So he's Santa Claus in his workshop working on something. Oh my God, what's in the box? What's in the box? Or who's the man in the box?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's basically just Santa sewing together a mask in his workshop.
Where's face like a mask?
I mean, it was very Leatherface.
Yeah,
I did like the skin of the kids on the naughty list, and the way he looked at the camera at the end. I actually went up on this one, but it was just barely.
Down also. It went nowhere, and I felt it was stuff that we've seen already in full length movies. So
yeah, true.
Yeah.
The New 52
and I was
from
expecting
DC.
a fucking luchador, man.
the whole face thing. The New 52 when they started with Batman did a great thing with the Joker taking off his face.
His face
Yeah.
off.
And that brings us to the Winter Stalker.
I'm trying to remember this one.
Santa. Well, so some guy basically reading stalkery stuff to a woman.
He's being all creepy. I think it was Colbert just did a bit with like Liam Neeson as Santa Claus. I know when you're awake and stuff. It was very similar to this, but I think he did it after this. And so it is the stalker Santa Claus because he can see you when you're sleeping, and he knows things, and he's creepy as hell. But of course, he's jolly Saint Nick.
Yeah, the idea is novel, but it was just too overdone. It kind of seemed professional, but it reads like a trailer.
Yeah,
and I couldn't tell if it was meant to be comedy or not.
I think it was very nicely put together. I mean, I could see the ending coming from a mile away, but I mean, it still looked interesting. So, I guess I'll go up.
I'm down on this one. I just didn't get it.
It was super short, but I mean, it kind of had a payoff at least. I'm very ambivalent about it. Very in the middle, but I'll give it a thumbs up. What the fuck? It looked nice.
And finally, the one you almost didn't get to watch.
Oh yeah, I was having problems getting into my Amazon Prime account.
This actually wasn't on Prime. It's just on there for free.
Son of a bitch! But
I found that out today.
But to watch it was making me log in.
You guys still had to log in, yeah. And it is the Santa Zombie. This is another one from Nigel Bach, who did Bad Ben.
Yeah, and I can't believe we did two of his movies this year.
Yeah. Well, we planned this. This was going to be the reason we're doing the shorts for this episode is we were going to end the year with the Santa Zombie, and then we found out it's only 12 minutes.
Yeah,
and then we just decided to pad it with a bunch of other shorts. We found a website. Check our social media. I posted the links to this and the site with all the other shorts. And I found that site, and we just decided to do them all. Anyway.
All right. So the plot summary for this one: the mall Santa is bitten by a feral zombie kid, so he is turned into a zombie, and he's of course hungry for brains, but does not have a lot of good luck with that. Hilarity ensues.
And at the beginning, it calls itself the stupidest holiday special ever made, but you're gonna laugh, and it absolutely lived up to that.
I wouldn't say it's the stupidest. I would think,
Well, okay, Christmas, Star Wars Christmas special.
Right. Yeah, of course, I feel Trevenge would said, "Hold my beer."
Perhaps. And right at the top, I have, is that the house from Bad Ben? Because there's like 3 shots of his house. Like the ending of the movie takes place at his house, but then there's this other shot of his house at the beginning.
I recognize that walkway in the beginning, in the entryway into the house right away.
And he was referred to. Well, it's a mall Santa that becomes a zombie, and I love that he's referred to as a mall god because he's this amazing Santa.
Yes, legendary Santa.
And I loved him trying to open the door as he's turning. He can't get his hand to move.
Trouble opening things.
Yeah.
He's hungry. He wants to eat Pringles. That's just as good as brains. He can't get the thing open. Can't get out of the house.
And there's this great voiceover there's this little interview sequence at the beginning, explaining, he didn't show up to work for a long time, and somebody found him.
I of course did not like the narrator. I don't think it was necessary to have a narrator in there. I know he was trying to give as much exposition as possible in a short time, but I mean, I think we could have got the idea that there was a couple next door trying to put the lights up in the dark for some reason.
I liked it. It was it was very Christmas special, because they do that a lot in Christmas specials.
Oh, you're right.
It was kind of an homage to that. For once, I didn't say it the other way. And speaking of that couple, I love that it was just this average, everyday kind of bickering couple who were almost the heroes.
Yeah, almost. But she was ovulating.
And I love the S&M joke.
Yeah.
The husband sees the Santa zombie and goes running after him and finds him chained up next to the garbage and with the wife standing there, and she says, "How did you do that?" "Oh, come on." And they cut to just a quick flash of a shot of them in S&M gear.
Yeah, all right.
And it's a horror movie in which sex isn't punished.
Right.
Which was a very refreshing change.
In fact, sex is the punishing thing, if you think about it, because they were going to go after the zombie.
True. But I mean, it was kind of punished in that sense, except, if he had gotten away and started the apocalypse, then they would have punished the sex, were it not for a stray dog.
Yeah.
Apparently, dogs, with their cuteness, can cure zombies.
It was sort of a Grinch.
Heart grew 3 times, yeah.
But only cause for the love of the dog.
Mm-hmm.
The ending, I kind of saw coming, but only right before it happened.
The dog you saw coming, or the couple?
The what happened after the dog. The ending.
Refresh my memory. I actually don't remember that part. I only remember the dog. Oh, yes. Well, explaining it will spoil my what have I learned. But yeah, love that too. Obviously, I'm going up.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. Up.
This and Very Zombie Holiday were the highlights for me.
Yeah, this and Treevenge for me were...
Alright, so what have we learned?
The Easter Bunny's an asshole.
I'm just going to go with the same thing, because I have to, but I can't, the Easter Bunny's an asshole is the big takeaway from all of this.
Total asshole.
Yeah.
I loved, the suck it gesture. Yeah.
And a little bit of sequels and remakes, just because I would love to see, I wouldn't necessarily say I wanted to see a Very Zombie Holiday turned into a movie, because it's a PSA, but I want to see a movie in that universe.
I'd like to see a full movie of Santa Zombie.
Yeah.
A horror comedy for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck not?
Same ending?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so until next year...
Holy shit.
Yeah. We're taking a month and a half off. We'll be back in February. Just to reiterate, we're going to YouTube, but Zombie Takeout will still be on zombietakeout.com and still in the same iTunes feed that you're subscribed to now. It'll be a little different, but you will still have an audio version of Zombie Takeout. There will also be audio versions of The John and Scotto Show and The Hearing, as well as the YouTube versions, of course.
What a fast and weird year.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we talked about this on air or not, but this was another weird year where it was really bad for the world, but really good for me personally. Same last year. Well, I don't think I said what we will be reviewing next year. We'll be reviewing The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it's some little avant-garde film that we heard about.
Instead of doing the after the show kind of review, we're gonna make it the episode and do the full review. All right, so until then, you can go to zombietakeout.com, check out the album art, the episode description, of course, the episode itself, which you're already listening to. Links to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. Our current YouTube channel, I might change that link to the new YouTube channel. It's currently the Zombie Takeout YouTube channel. I might change it to John and Scotto. You also find links to subscribe to us on... I've lost my place, but I'm not going to cut this. You'll also find links to subscribe on RSS and through iTunes. And, of course, if you enjoyed the show, spread the word. Give us a little word of mouth. Of course, we appreciate all of the listeners we have, but more would be better. I'm completely botching this, but I don't care. Of course, you'll find the movie list, every movie we've reviewed so far, and every movie we're going to review through, and I looked this up just before, Hardcore Henry.
Wow.
It's sometime in the summer. I think it's in June. We'll also have our first guest next year. Actually, no, not our first guest. We had Jen on and Roberta. But our first guest on camera coming up in one of the first episodes of the year.
Wow.
You also find the recommendations list. Obviously, we weren't going to fuck with the rec list this week.
Nah.
But that's why we did the ups and downs.
Although I'd wreck either Treevenge or Santa Zombie.
I would absolutely wreck Zombie Holiday. Probably my name is Chris Kringle, Treevenge. And Santa Zombie, maybe Lucci, Gore. That's an iffy one for me. Yeah, no, that's like a 3.5 for me. 3 and be a 3. You can leave us an email at zombietakeout@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 414-368-CTO1 or for the alphanumerically challenged.
You can go fuck yourself.
414-368-CTO1 or through 414-368-9861. Sorry. But neither of those is probably going to get checked until February.
Yeah.
So, there's really kind of no point. I mean, unless you want to be in the first episode.
Maybe.
Yeah. Of course, always remember the show will always be coming from the middle of Milwaukee. And until next time, finally, 51 minutes in, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
I just don't want to die. That's all I care about is not dying right now.
Come on, grow a pair. Seriously.
Please don't belittle me. All right, fine. Let's go save the kids.
I'm on 3 hours of sleep, folks.